Hey guys, it's Coach Andrea here. Today is Thoughtful Thursday, and today I want to talk about the power of language. One of the things that I was truly lacking when I began my recovery process was the language that I needed in order to define what was happening to me. If you're trying to have a conversation with someone, and you don't have the words to really articulate what it is you're experiencing, you can sound one, like maybe you're over exaggerating, two, like you are kind of unstable, like maybe you aren't sure exactly what you're feeling. And number three, you can sound almost like a person that's nitpicking or trying to make excuses for why you feel how you feel, kind of like a complainer. And I think that very early in my journey, when I didn't have the words to describe the gaslighting, when I didn't have the words to describe the manipulation, when I didn't have the words to describe what I can now see were like narcissistic behaviors, it was very hard for me to communicate with others, even trained professionals, and tell them what I was experiencing. When people go to the doctor and they don't have a proper diagnosis, all they have are their symptoms. They can say, well, sometimes my stomach hurts. It doesn't really hurt, maybe more like a cramp. And they're trying to figure out how to describe to the doctor what's going on with their body. But something happens when the doctor says, oh, you have epilepsy, or you have multiple sclerosis, you have cancer. When the doctor defines what it is that you're experiencing, suddenly you're empowered to go out and educate yourself. And that's what happens is in recovery. And that is why it is so important for the betrayed spouse to seek help, to get education, and to really get underneath exactly what I'll say diagnosis, because it's the same thing. You have to figure out what course of treatment or what course of action that you need. I remember the first time I heard what gaslighting was, and I knew that I had been experiencing it, but I had no real language to define it. It was a happy, sad moment, if I can say that. I was so happy and so relieved to know that I wasn't making this up, that it was a real thing, that it really is a form of psychological abuse, and that it was something that I could educate myself on to prevent it from happening to me again. And so, if you are just in the beginning of your recovery process, or maybe you haven't even looked into anything, I remember I didn't even know the term sex addiction was a real thing. I thought I just had a husband who was having affairs. And so once I got the language that I needed in order to give me the right terms, then I could go and educate myself. And so it's so important for each one of us, just like in the medical field, you have to be your own advocate. You have to do your own research. You have to be the one to use your voice. It's so important for betrayed spouses and partners to do their research, to do their homework, to learn the language so that they can then articulate what they're experiencing and what they're seeing, and then they can get the proper treatment. So I want to say to you, you've heard me say some terms, gaslighting. You've heard me talk about recovery. You've heard me say sex addiction. You've heard me say narcissistic tendencies. These are all things that you may be experiencing and not have words for them. And I want to encourage you to do your research. You can go to my Facebook page, Fully Alive Coaching. I try to post articles and educational information because I really do believe that knowledge is power. And it's not just the knowledge, but once you have the knowledge, that's then when you can formulate a plan or a course of action that's really going to get you on the road to healing. I would love to talk to you, Coach Andrea, FAC at gmail.com, if you have questions. Have a great day.